Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala khatamil mursalin Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Where are we now in the month of Islamic calendar? No, don't stop googling. Yeah, so we're coming to the end of Shawwal, isn't it true? I think Monday might be 29, inshallah, right? After Shawwal will be? Astaghfirullah. In Albania, yes, perhaps it's Muharram, but the rest of the Muslim world, it's not Muharram, it's Zul Qaidah, right?
It's going to be June.
After Zul Qaidah will be? Zul Hijjah. Yeah, Zul Hijjah means Zul Hijjah. Zul Hijjah is the last month of Islamic calendar, right? What is significance? Class A?
10 days.
The first 10 days of Zul Hijjah is the best 10 days of the year. So you need to know this, because you see, Allah is so merciful. He gives us all those opportunities to gain more rewards, inshallah. Isn't it true? You need to know this, because if you miss out, that's why we have all these classes to remind you. That's why you need to mix around with people who are practicing in order to understand this. Because if not, you lose out. What is the significance of first 10 days of Zul Hijjah? Why is it the best 10 days of the year?
They have to do the store, migrate.
No. Yeah, yes, but more importantly, any deeds that we do in these days of Zul Hijjah, first 10 days, is more beloved to Allah than even jihad. Unless the person, of course, if the jihad lost the money and lost himself, the life, then of course that's much better. But other than that, it's much better. So it's a time for you and I to try to do many things. In our Sabah, in our talk yesterday, right? I did tell everybody so many times, we are given the free will to do whatever things we want in this life, but we have also given the opportunity to improve ourselves, right? To gain more rewards. So for example, when we do the 2 raka'ah after wudu, what is the reward? No, it's not. It's not just about that, isn't it? What is the reward of doing 2 sunnah after wudu? No.
You go to the house for yourself in general.
No. All these are assumptions, but it's not correct. There must be hadith, right? It was Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his journey Isra Mi'raj. Who did he hear the footsteps in paradise? Bilal. And he came down and he asked Bilal, right? How come I heard your footsteps? What did he say? In paradise, that means in future he will be successful. What did he do? He didn't say about salah, he didn't say about whatever it is. What did he say? Because after he did wudu, he did 2 raka'ah. And on that basis, his footstep was heard in paradise. So when we hear about this hadith, perhaps we should follow. Perhaps we might be like Bilal, inshallah. Isn't it true? So this is very important. That why Allah gave us plenty of opportunities. The whole of month of Ramadan is the month of mercy, isn't it true? And yet you can see people are not paying attention to Ramadan, right? Last 10 days of Ramadan are full of, again, mercy and forgiveness. Angels are coming out in numbers, and yet people in my country are so busy making Eid cakes, going to bazaar and all this, preparing the house for Eid. 1 month, my country today is still celebrating Eid. It's 1 month of celebration. So, and technically, which Eid is the better Eid, a bigger Eid? Is it after Ramadan or next one? Next one. Why is it a better Eid, a bigger Eid? No, because that Ramadan is for yourself, right? For yourself, for your own achievement, not for the Ummah, but this is for the Ummah. Because also the verse that Islam was completed was revealed, isn't it true? What verse was this? Surah number 5, verse number 3. Al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati wa raditu lakum Islam Madinah. Right? This day I have perfected a religion for you. I've completed my favors upon you, and I've chosen for Islam as it was completed. Even the Jews, they came out to Prophet ﷺ and said, if this were to reveal to us, we take this as a day of celebration. Right? And not only that, it is also to unite those who are in Hajj and us, right, as a Muslim Ummah, right? So this is supposed to be bigger Eid than the one in Ramadan, after Ramadan, because that is an individual achievement. This is a Ummah achievement. Islam was completed, and that is why it's a bigger Eid. And not only that, it's the best part of the best 10 days of the year, right? So we do need to understand all these messages Allah's given us so that you and I are able to, well, improve ourselves in terms of our deed. We discussed it so many times. For example, why do you do the duha prayer? Do you do duha prayer? The duha prayer? No, Zohor, duha prayer. Do a duha prayer?
Strong bones.
Now?
That's it. Strong joints. You get that for
No,
whenever you
my
play
question,
one of the three
I didn't say about the rewards, right? I asked, did you do the duha prayer?
I can't hear you. I'm muted, Ustad. Sorry.
Sorry?
No, I didn't, Ustad. No, I didn't.
Okay, because they said, oh, you are trying to get away from the questions. You said you are trying to act smart and say all these rewards. Yes, the reward is as if the body has how many joints? 360 joints, right? And 360 joints. 360, not 260. 360. No, 360, right? And every joint they glorify Allah, right? And two sunnah prayer du'a is equivalent to this, right? So glorification of Allah, right? So in that sense, right, it's a form of being thankful to Allah, isn't it? When you glorify Allah, do you agree? Right? Why must we? Because next week topic is how to be closer to Allah, right? Why should we at all times try to be closer to Allah? Not only that, because of today's topic. What is today's topic? No. Wallahu ghalibun ala amrihi. What did Allah say? And He is what do you call it? Has a full power and control over all His affairs. Brothers, everything that we do, your presence here, that you can walk, that you can pass your exam, inshallah, right? That of all the families, your families, you're one of the few who are practicing. Isn't it true? You took shahada, yeah, some time back, and all this is not from you. The eventuality of any matters comes from Allah, right? We are not in control of our the outcome of our actions. Isn't it true? It's Allah, and therefore, when we know this, we do need, you and me, we do need to think of ways to get closer to Allah in order for Allah to actually make our dreams come true, make our dua answered. It's all from Allah, isn't it true? Do you agree? Right? Nothing is, and nothing, you can say this is where human beings come in, right? Human beings think that we are the one who are able, because of us, we can pay our bills. Because our hard work, we pay our bills. When we are sick, instead of asking Allah first, we go and say doctor first and expect things to get better. Isn't it true? Exams, right? Ask the teachers and all this, we should ask Allah first for help. Isn't it true? Do you agree in this?
Self-sufficient, that's what they always say.
Sorry?
They always like say they're self-sufficient.
Yes. Again, we're going to talk about the verse of relation to a self-sufficient master, right? In the sense that also that we know that Allah is one who disposes of all our affairs, right? Right? Your friend is here. Online.
Oh.
You know who, right?
Huh? Yeah, of course.
So again, make dua for him. He's not well, so again, may Allah grant him shifa.
He's not well.
Has he got monkeypox?
Yeah. Is he there?
Yeah, somebody asked you got monkey what?
Monkeypox.
Monkeypox.
They're trying to slander me because monkeypox only is with people committing haram activities right now.
No, you couldn't see.
Oh.
He's very shy. He's very modest. His fitra make him not want to show himself. Too much muscles to show. But anyway, yeah. So this is how you and I, we have to really look at ourselves and how we can be closer to Allah, right? Because eventual plans in our life doesn't lie on with us; it lies with Allah, isn't it true? I didn't want to. When I was small, it's beyond my imagination for me to sit in front of you to give you a talk. It's not in my, it wasn't in my plan, right? But Allah has His own plans. I wanted to be a pilot.
You still hungry, man.
I can't, my eyes,
Oh.
right? And then, so all these kind of things, right, happens. I wanted, well, I wanted,
Lost pilot.
sorry?
You are lost pilot.
I mean, no, Allah's not astaghfirullah. Allah is my pilot.
Giving us the message.
Who's that? I'm just passing the message. So this is important that we understand this, right? You just took your exam, all right? I know, but you took your exam, or taking exams now, right? It's not you who make you pass exam, isn't it true? Even if you don't pass the exam, that perhaps there might be some benefits that you might think of, right? And all this we have to think about it, brothers, because, right, that's why the fact that, as I said just now, that we are healthy, alhamdulillah now, right? It is from Allah. It's not because of, well, we eat vitamins and all this, and we exercise, go to the gym, right? Our muscles getting smaller. and it's not because of us, because Allah is giving us good health in order for us to worship Allah, right? This is our purpose in life, right? Not to right, go for holidays, not to right. my holiday is different, right? There's a purpose in it. It's different. Right? So there is always this we must understand that when we are able to seek, previously you were trying to seek employment, now you have employment, alhamdulillah. Isn't it true? Right? And everything's from Allah, right? It's not from us that we get our employment, our money, right? When we pass our exams and all this, or we earn money, right? Or when they raise in salary, it all comes from Allah. Everything comes from Allah, right? When we open a fridge, there's always food there, right? When you switch on, turn on the tap, there's always water. To us, alhamdulillah, in UK, right? In many countries, it may not be like this. It's all from Allah, right? Again, we're going to discuss about the various verses in the Qur'an. If the rain, for example, is not palatable, I mean, it's like seawater. How on earth can we drink this? Right? It is not coincidence, It's Allah made us. So that what's the purpose of this? And to worship Allah. Right? If we don't relate all this to, in the end, it must be to worship Allah, then something must be wrong with us, isn't it true? Right? Eventually, everything is to worship Allah, because all of us are going to be questioned about Allah. None are going to be exempted, right? In this place called An-Najwa. What is An-Najwa again? Secret counsel with Allah, right? Elmi bin Artan bin Imi. Ilmi, exactly. Right? You be called by that, exactly that. Where is Ilmi bin? Yes, your dad's name? Artan bin Ilmi. Right? You call by the name, and all of us are asked the same questions. And everything that we have done or we have not done will be revealed to us on that time. Right? And this is how we do need to understand that we discussed yesterday very lengthy discussions about free wills, right? That we are given the free will to do whatever we want, right? Make sure we don't waste this free will. Especially us in UK, we can do whatever we want, isn't it true? You can come to my house, can come to your house for circles. Even in Muslim countries, you don't allow it, as you know. Morocco, you allow it?
Probably not.
Egypt, no, definitely not. You've been in prison.
To
go to somebody's house for a circle, like
Saudi as well.
Saudi, I think so, right?
Why is that?
It's totally like that.
Because they think because they think that you are you want together to topple the governments and all this. So a lot of
They lock up all the
suspicion.
sheikhs, innit? In
Not
Saudi.
really,
Yeah, yeah.
They don't, because you might be someone that, for example, one with terrorism or something.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they need to know who's doing the.
Yeah, so these are the things that you need to be thankful that alhamdulillah you are here. You can able to gather in this place. We have at least something to discuss, isn't it true? In terms of Islamic knowledge, right? The ability to pay your rent, your mobile phone bills, right? It also is from Allah. It's not from you, right? And also the fact that alhamdulillah of all the 8 or 9 billion people in the world, we are Muslims. It is all from Allah, isn't it true? Right? Everything is from Allah. Allah has chosen us among all His creations to be Muslims. It's not an easy thing, isn't it true? Khalil, when you become Muslim, well, initially it's quite difficult for you to imagine you're a Muslim, isn't it true?
Yeah.
Not judging you, of course, judging from your Jahiliyyah days, right?
I would be scared. I'm not scared, but I used to be, because the hide right there,
Salam
with all my friends. And if I let my phone,
Yeah.
I used to be so embarrassed to wear it. Not embarrassed, but like, I used to just think,
It's not your
judge me.
personality.
Yeah, it's not my normal clothes.
So, did you ever imagine, Khalil, that you will be a Muslim one day?
No.
Did you hate
I said I
Islam?
would never be a Muslim.
Did you think that we are so backdated, backwards, and all this, and so boring, and all this?
And I
When
always
you have,
used to say that, you know, like my family's Catholic, I'll be raised a Catholic, I'll die a Catholic. That was just my motto. I was like, I can't change my religion.
Yeah.
From my family.
Yeah.
That was just the ignorance.
yeah, yeah, and this is how it is. This is how Allah works.
Yeah.
Of all the people, you should be more grateful, isn't it true? In a sense, because all of us, well, we always take things for granted anyway, right? We are not grateful to Allah, right? Most of us, we don't even know what Islam means, right? That's what we discussed about last week about Shahada. Many people don't even know what Shahada means, right?
But that's what I was just thinking, sorry, but that's what I was just thinking about the Saudis and that. Because we always say, oh, they're Muslim. But the thing is, imagine all the teachers are locked up. There's no classes.
Yeah.
They're not getting the knowledge. They're just
No.
Muslim and they know the prayers, but they don't
Yeah.
know the knowledge.
Yeah.
Because where can they go to learn?
I think at the end of the day, many countries, Albania, Indonesia, and all these Malaysians, the same. It's just a ticking of boxes.
That's
For
what
them.
I'm trying to say with even the, as he goes into Missouri, just, okay, it's allowed down at robots.
Yeah. If ever, of course, done. Yeah.
Not trying to get like an emotional attachment with Allah.
Yes.
You know, that's.
It's not trying to understand the deen like we are doing, alhamdulillah, right? Because do you think that when the Saudis read the Quran, do they understand? They do, because they, in their own language, in general, perhaps about 80%, they do understand what it means. But understanding is one thing, knowledge is one thing, but to implement is another thing, right?
Yeah.
How, again, I'm not judging Allah guide all of us, right? The fact that, well, homosexuality is spreading fast in all these countries, right? Many experiences that I've heard from people whom I know in Saudi Arabia, it boils down to, yeah, same thing about, that the fact that they know about the Quran, but is to implement is very different, right? Things, for example, entertainment, right? Gambling, zina, having boyfriends, girlfriends, it's not uncommon now in such countries, right? And this is how it is, how it's not just about understanding what it means, it's about trying to implement it. Again, it's all from who? From Allah, right? And this is how, if the eventuality, the fact that you and I, inshallah, are going to be in Jannah, everything is from Allah. It's not because of us, right? Ability to pray, ability even to ask Allah for forgiveness, even to be grateful to Allah, everything comes from Allah Himself. That's what was it? Prophet Dawud alayhi salam, was it he who said something like, "Oh ya Allah, how can I thank you enough when even to thank you itself comes from you?" Right? And this is something that we do need to ask ourselves: how much are we grateful to Allah? Right? Because many of us seems to be not able to be grateful. That's why for me, if you were to ask me, and I know you're going to throw rocks at me nowadays, right? Alhamdulillah, I'm in this country. in a sense that I'm able to really appreciate Islam. If I were to be back in my country, perhaps if you were to be also in Morocco, it may be different, you know. Yeah, possibly, because a lot of people take things for granted. They don't want to discuss about what we're doing now, right? For me, it's like a discussion, right? You want to ask questions, I will try to answer you. If not, I'll refer something else. But in those countries, it's different. What they say, completely, you cannot question them, right? Even in Singapore and all this, if you question to them about Yasin on Thursday nights, right, they're not going to be happy with you. If you're not, precisely, I'm the one who was misguided. If you ask them about, oh, after 40 days, you shouldn't have this celebration or Yasin and also 40 days, after 7 days of the death, Celebrating. Yeah, they make dua and all this. If not, the spirit or the soul will be something, whatever it is, right? And this is quite common in many countries, yeah. And if you question them, right, you will be among those who think that I know people who are in prison because they question or they teach them about, well, this is in bid'ah and all this. They land in prison. I know one person who was a teacher there. In fact, he used to teach my house before. He landed in prison in Malaysia.
Oh, wow.
For questioning them, for trying to, they said you're trying to divide the ummah. Right. And also, for example, some people are not allowed to enter some countries because they think that, oh, it's not good because you're trying to divide the Christians and the Jews and others. When you say, who is Allah referring to? Because before that, ihdina siratal mustaqim, right? God has a straight way. Siratal ladina an'amta alaihim, the way of those whom you have bestowed your favors. Ghairil maghdubi alaihim waladdallin, but not the way of whom you has earned your anger, nor those whom you have led astray. Who Allah was angry with? The Jews. Because in Hadith, who was led astray? The Christians in authentic Hadith. But yet some countries, they do not want to hear this. So they want to change the deen, right? And I challenge people, those who hear me and all this, some of these scholars in different countries, they studied in Mecca, they studied in Egypt, they know the truth, and yet when they come back, they need to change. Because if not, they are not able to get the jobs in the country as imams or whatever it is in the ministry of Islamic ministers and all this. Yes.
You see, there's as well, like one of my dad's uncle, his son, studied in Turkey and in Syria, I think. But he done a proper course as a Sunnah, according to Sunnah. When he came back, he started to the Shia thing so people can come to him and give him money, basically. But he knows, he studied everything, that he finished the school
I didn't want to say this, right? Because a lot of people who are imams and religious teachers, they're quite rich. People give them money, right? For example, as I said, 40 days, right? We are invited to have these Yasin sessions. We are given, for example, £300 each session, right? You have all these things. You get a lot of money. It's a money-making business. Right? It's a money-making business with the imams and all this. That is why some people are telling me, why don't I charge for things? I say, no, at the end of the day, I only want to reward with Allah, isn't it true? Eventually. And this is how it is in many countries.
Talks about, isn't it? Selling the knowledge and for money.
It is.
Selling the Quran. That's what the Jews did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, they sell things for a small price.
Yeah.
And in order to dilute Islam in that manner, right? And this happened, right? So coming back to this topic, brothers, right? We must think, if you haven't thought this through, right? You must think from today onwards that Allah has the full power and control of everything. Anybody disagree? That is why when we say La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, what does it mean?
There's no might or power except Allah.
Yes. When do we say this, for example?
Someone dies. No, that's scary.
That is in your culture, perhaps, right? When there must be an evidence, Khalil, right? Yes. Bismillah tawakkaltu ala wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Right? And it's quite a powerful statement. Brothers, when you say something, right? I hope that I say this especially to myself. You do need to know the meaning in order to appreciate what you're saying, because most of us are just saying for the mouth, it is true, because we are just saying it and, without understanding the full impact of the statement. When we say Bismillah, first of all, in the name of Allah, tawakkal to Allah. What does it mean? We put our trust in Allah. It's a huge thing, because when we put our trust in Allah, right, nothing will fall astray, right? That means even if it's not successful what we want, there must be a reason from Allah for our own good, perhaps, right? And this is a huge thing. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. There's no might except, and we trust that whatever it is, Allah knows what is the best outcome for us, not us. We always think that, okay, if we have 1 month salary about £5,000 is good, isn't it true, right? If we have a nice house, is good, isn't it true? Selling property, right? Is the best, right? If a nice car, 1, perhaps 2 is best, right? This is our dream, isn't it true? It's not uncommon. Even when I was in college, at university, everybody had the same dream, isn't it true? You want to have a comfortable house and all this. But when you get older, very different. Yeah, in mentality. Khalid, do you agree? Mentality is very different, right? Especially when, inshallah, we understand about the purpose of life, right? Because these are the things that will distract us from the hereafter, for sure, right? I'm sure, Khalid, in your companions, previous companions, you know about these people, right? How much a lot of and your property things, right? How many things the wealth that Allah has given us will distract us from the path of our journey to the Jannah, isn't it true? And this is how we do need to really look at ourselves whether we are in the right track or not. Brothers, as I said many times, we are given only one chance in this life, isn't it true? There's no second chance. Perhaps I might die tonight, right? Somebody here might die tomorrow, right? And that's it. There's no second chance. Yeah, and this is how that we do need to not be arrogant enough to say that, well, everything happens because of me, right? Because what I did, I studied so hard, I went to university, I got this degree, I got another degree, I got this, and everything because of me. And that's what people are doing.
Some of my friends are like,
Many people, yeah,
don't believe
they don't have this
from them.
Humility to know that without Allah they are nothing. And this is what that verse means in Surah number 12, verse number 21. Wallahu ghalibun ala amrihi walakinna aktharuhum la ya'lamun. Right? With Allah, Allah has all the full power and control over all His affairs. But most mankind doesn't know about this. Agreed? Because we think that we are the one who has the ability to control everything. Right? Now, so this is something in which we must acknowledge that Allah as our creator, right? He's the one who is the final determinant of our affairs. And perhaps, as I said, what did Allah say in Surah number 2, verse number 216? It's about jihad, but it applies anything. وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُ شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ وَعَسَىٰ أَن تُحِبُّوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌّ لَكُمْ وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Right? تَعْلَمُونَ, correct. Right? So which means perhaps the thing that you dislike is a thing which is good for you. And the thing that which you love is one which is bad for you. Allah knows what we do not. And Allah says very clearly, Allah knows, وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Right? And this is how Allah is. Allah is Al-Alim Al-Khabir. Right? He knows everything that what is good for us. Right? Perhaps, Khalil, if Allah gives whatever things you want, you won't be here in the class, huh? You'll be in Ibiza, same mentality, yeah? In the sun, right? 45 degrees, in your swimming trunk, right? Sun tanning, right? Speedos, right? And this is it. This is the mentality of many people, right? But the fact that Allah did not give what we want means, inshallah, we are trying to ask Allah, to trust Allah, right? That Allah knows best what is that He would give us in order for us to get a better deal in the hereafter, inshallah. Yeah. And Allah also remind us that Allah has given us many things, and we can never count His blessings, right? وَآتَاكُم مِّن كُلِّ مَا سَأَلْتُمُوهُ وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَظَلُومٌ كَفَّارٌ. And He gave you all the ask of Him. And if you were to count the blessings of Allah, never will be able to count them. Indeed, mankind is ever disbeliever and wrongdoer, disbeliever, right? When Allah talk about kafur, yeah, it can be two things, right? Either disbeliever or ungrateful to Allah. Okay, and which surah is this?
Ibrahim.
Verse number? You are looking at my screen,
No,
is
no,
it
no,
true?
no. It's too far. And there's a reflection. 30.
Yes, 34.
Is it 34?
Yeah,
He was one of the two.
34, right? And we have to look and reflect about this, right? That we never can count the blessings of Allah. The biggest blessing will be Islam. That must be. You cannot even think for a moment. Biggest blessing is my wealth, my wife, my beautiful wife, my 4 wives, and all this. Right?
Life.
Islam is a big.
You didn't have life.
That's the second one.
Okay.
Time. Time is that we are still given time to prepare to face Allah, right? In Surah Ar-Rahman, what verse was always repeated?
Which
Ar-Rahman.
Which of your favorites do you know?
Yeah, in Arabic, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Right? What does it mean?
Which of your favors?
Flavors. Vanilla, strawberry. Yeah, which of favors which you both in both means? Both refers to who?
Both.
Which of the favors did you both deny? Both means who?
Adam and Hawa.
No, the jinn and mankind. Right? Because you know when this verse was revealed to this Prophet and Prophet was reading this to the Sahaba, right? The whole Surah Ar-Rahman, the beautiful Surah, as you know, right? What was the reactions of the Sahaba? What do you think?
Scared.
No, they just keep quiet. The Prophet was very disappointed. Why? Because when this was recited to the jinns, every time the verse of the right? Which of these my favors would you both deny? Every time the jinns will answer back, Ya Allah, we never deny any of your favors. The jinns answer that. And this is how it is, right? Have we denied Allah's favors? And again, when you read this, you say beautiful, oh, Sheikh Sudais, you read so nicely and all this. But it's not just about the beautiful recitations. Are we actually connecting with the Qur'an? We actually deny Allah's favors by being ungrateful to Allah. Yeah? So this, in Surah Waqiyah itself, right? Waqiyah is a beautiful surah, isn't it true? Right? Allah is questioning you and me, for example. Let's look in Surah number 56, right? That's in verse number 58 and 59. أَفَرَأَيْتُمْ مَا تُمْنُونَ أَأَنْتُمْ تَخْلُقُونَهُ أَمْ نَحْنُ الْخَالِقُونَ. Tell me about the human semen that you emit, right?
Sperm, yeah.
Yes. Is it you who create, or are we the creator? People are just having over 4 or 5 children, all this. Who create these children? It's not you. It's Allah. Right? Another verse, right? That was verse number 58 to 59. This is Surah number 56, right? In 68, 69, 70, this is even more starking. Allah asking us, right? أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ الْمَاءَ الَّذِي تَشْرَبُونَ أَأَنْتُمْ أَنزَلْتُمُوهُ مِنَ الْمُزْنِ أَمْ نَحْنُ الْمُنزِلُونَ لَوْ نَشَاءُ جَعَلْنَاهُ أُجَاجًا فَلَوْلَا تَشْكُرُونَ. Tell me the water that you drink. Water, right? Is it you who caused it from the rain clouds to come down, or are we that caused it to come down? Who is it? If we willed, we verily could make it salty and undrinkable. Why then do you not give thanks to Allah? It's amazing, isn't it true? We always take it for granted. Of course, we can always drink water, but what happens if the water is like the sea water? Can we drink sea water in general, just like that? Of course, it's like, you want to vomit. Remember when we were swimming in
the pond.
Cornwall?
Oh,
Right?
very fun.
Yeah, it's sea water. You can't drink the sea water. What happens if the rain is like that? And if we never give thanks to Allah. Okay, UK is always raining, so boring. There's no sun, right? You're complaining, isn't it true? Right? You can't even have a suntan, isn't it true, Khalil? Right? It's just like Ibiza, right? And this is how it is. Allah inform us, right? We never give thanks to Allah regarding this, right? That next verse, 71, 72. Afara'aytumul nara allati turun أأنتم أنشأتم شجرتها أم نحن المنشئون? Right. Tell me the fire which you kindle. Is it you who made the tree thereof to grow, or are we the grower? Fire. How does a fire stand on its own? You must have. You cannot just have fire there. Isn't it true? Must have paper or wood, right? You can't have the fire on its own unless I don't know what happened. Right. You must have something, isn't it true? The means to have the fire grow. That's all Allah asking us. The trees, are you the one who let it grow, or is it Allah? The trees that we see here, right? Again, so all this we never reflect, right? Al-Mulk, you memorize it, isn't it true? Memorize Al-Mulk. Do you actually know the meaning behind Al-Mulk itself? What is the meaning of Al-Mulk?
Owner of dominion.
The dominion. That means Allah has a full control and power over everything. Isn't it true? Literally, technically, right? There's no doubt about it. That is why, if we memorize, when should we recite Al-Mulk? We will Muslim, inshallah, right? And we should, by reciting Al-Mulk, when we recite Al-Mulk, we should know what to do. Isn't it true? I remember. I don't know what I've shared with you. For the first time, I let a new Muslim, a revert, one of my students, to read Al-Mulk just in English. What's the first thing that he said after that? The first thing, at the end of the verse number 3, he said, Subhanallah. What do you do when you recite Al-Mulk? Do you say Subhanallah? Difficult, isn't it? No. I know your culture is like that, right? Right?
Is that wajib? Do you have to say that?
No, it's not. It's not even in the Sunnah.
Nothing.
No. It's your culture, right? Lebanese.
Yeah, Egypt.
Egypt, yeah, sorry.
They taught in Arabic. My little sister, she goes to Arabic school.
Yeah.
Penford Street.
Yeah.
Now when she does 8th course, that's when she finishes. She says,
Yeah, that as a teacher is a hadith regarding that.
Some major sheikhs say as well.
It is, I know, but some of them say this is like some of them they say, oh, it's okay to say Jum'ah Mubarak,
Yeah.
right? So again, where's the source? Or this
No,
kind of
it's
thing?
not make you like a habit, maybe or something.
Yeah, you shouldn't, because there's no hadith. Because Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would be the first one who said Sadaqal Azim if it's supposed to be the Sunnah to say, right? So we don't say it. As simple as that, right? So even in the last part of what is the last part of Al-Mulk? Qul ara'aytum in asbaha ma'akum gharam faman ya'tikum bima'in ma'in.
Yes.
What does it mean? So that means that tell me if all your water were to be sunk away, who can then supply you with the flowing water? Now this is what I mean, right? We always think that, oh, of course, this rain will fall and then it will be collected in underground, I don't know, this underground river and all this.
Tanks, water tanks.
Yes, and end up in a reservoir or a pond, isn't it true? To be collected for us to drink, isn't it? There's a process, isn't it true? But all these intricate processes of how the water can be collected is because Allah made the soil different qualities, isn't it true? Because the lowest level is like clay that nothing can penetrate, isn't it true? And that's how the water is collected, isn't it true? If everything is like sand and all this, as porous goes through, how can we collect water and all this? And we never think about this.
And it filters, isn't it? It filters through the rocks.
Yes.
Naturally.
Yeah. And all this collected, as I said, into a big reservoir and all this, and for us to drink. And we never think about this. We think that, oh, it's in Mother Nature, it mixed like we can just drink. It's nothing. Everything is planned intricately by Allah, and we never think about this. Yeah. So all these brothers, right? We do need to understand that is, again, question again, right? Why did Allah make all this easy for us to drink until eventually we get this?
So we can worship.
Always answer in that way. Oh, because we can worship Allah, because it's the purpose of life. Right? Because Allah will make things easy for us to worship Him. And that is how it is, isn't it true? Right? To get His guidance, inshallah. Right?
So we have to worship and we have to breed to make children to worship Allah.
Yes.
That's the two things we're here for.
Inshallah. Right? But no, it's not easy, is it true? Right? Especially with children. Right?
Teenagers even worse.
Right? But again, it all depends on who Allah guides, isn't it true? One of my clients just told me, right? He's a Philippines Catholics. Told me, oh, my 15-year-old daughter became just like you a few days ago. What?
Became a boy.
My 15-year-old daughter. That's what no, I'm trying to use exactly what you said. I said I pretend not to understand, right? Oh, became like me? Yeah. She started wearing this scarf and she started prostrate. Okay.
Nowadays, everyone is becoming men, women coming.
Yeah, you can't.
Confused.
You don't know now this year.
I'm not talking about this, right? I wouldn't bring that example into this. If it is, right? So all I'm trying to say, again, Khalil, coming back to your story, right? Again, it's difficult for you to imagine you're Muslim, isn't it true? Because things in general, before that, your lifestyle is so, sorry to say this, right? In the Jahiliyyah days, so different away from what is it now.
Now, yeah.
Right?
Now it's easy.
Yeah, because Allah made it easy for you, alhamdulillah,
Yeah,
right? But that kind of guidance, Allah can guide whomever He wills in the right path, right? And this is what we need to understand, right? That of all the people, He has guided all of us, inshallah, in the right path, and we just need to make sure to continue with this pursuit of Allah's mercy and Allah's guidance, so that we are able to reach Jannah, inshallah, right? That is why, brothers, we put all our trust and efforts in Allah, right? What did Allah say? Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Which verse is this?
Surah 2, no?
No.
I don't know the surah, but I know where it was used.
Was that the 7th?
Where?
Where? In the Battle of Badr.
One of the battles, yes. And what happened? I don't think it's Badr. Perhaps, yeah. No, I think Uhud. I think because it's number 3.
Oh, Uhud.
Number 3,
Okay.
right? Surah number 3, verse number 173. Right? So what happened in that verse?
In that verse?
Yes.
Is that when
When the Quraysh were trying to scare the Muslims, right? To be scared of the enemies. But it only increased their faith, and they say, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Right? Do you think, honestly, brothers, logically, right? 1,000 people in Battle of Badr is able to be defeated by 300 people? Not logical, isn't it true? But again, Allah has a full power and control of all His affairs, right? 3,000 mushrikeens in Battle of Uhud against 1,000 believers, and even in the 1,000, how many were hypocrites?
700?
No, 300,
300.
right? That means 700 against 3,000.
300.
Right? So, subhanallah. Well, did they win the war initially?
Uhud. It
Yes.
was kind of like a draw, right?
No, initially they did win the war, but eventually they lost.
Because of the archers, right?
Yes.
They didn't listen.
Yeah, they didn't listen,
Yeah.
right?
They didn't stay there and like.
Yes.
And was there an ayah that came out so that they listened to the Prophet?
Yeah. There was now in Surah number 3. Right? We're going to go through in the next tafsir,
Not
inshallah.
that booty.
What do you say?
No, I said they ran to get the booty, didn't they?
Yeah, the gold, yeah.
Money
The
talks.
gold and that.
Astaghfirullah, of course. You know people who participated in Battle of Badr and I think Uhud, if I'm not mistaken. What is their reward?
Jannah Firdaus.
Yeah, besides that,
With the Prophet.
their sins,
Forgiven.
not just past sins, future sins are forgiven.
Everything.
Yes.
But they're
Yes.
dead.
Because it's very difficult. Sorry, no, I'm talking about in when they were still alive.
Oh, if they partake. Oh, okay.
Yes, whatever things that they do, you still to forgive them.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah, because they participate in I'm not sure whether it's just Badr or Badr and Uhud, right? But this is important. So coming back to this, right? Hasbunallah wa ni'mal. What does it mean?
In Allah we rely.
No.
Allah is sufficient for me, and He is the disposer of.
Yes, Allah alone is sufficient for us. I don't need all these things, right? And He is the best disposer of our affairs. So when we declare this, right, it means a lot. We're going to discuss about what the Prophet say in different occasions, right? So who said the similar verse?
Most of the people. Was Ibrahim?
No, don't assume. Sorry? Yeah, when Ibrahim alayhi salam.
When they put him in the fire.
And he was thrown in the fire, isn't it true? He said similar, Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil. Allah is sufficient for me, right? And what happened after that? When he said that?
The fire, Jibril came and
No, the fire becomes cool,
yeah,
right? Immediately, right? So that means it's not about the fire, impossibilities. Allah is still the one who determines the final outcome, isn't it true? You and me, for example, if we don't say this, for example, we burn and toast, isn't it true? In that kind of fire, right? But if with Allah's will, He is one who controls everything among His affairs, right?
Actually, they found it in sujood when the fire went away.
I'm not sure. Right? Not important, isn't it true?
And did anyone like rebirth after they saw that? No, there's no Hadith regarding it. After they saw Ibrahim not being burned.
No, because that is quite hardcore mushrikeen, isn't it true? Yeah, because the equivalent to all these what do you call it, Pharaoh and all this, right? So this is important that we understand this, right? About how we understand Allah is the one who is the final disposal of our affairs, and we rely on Allah completely, right, brothers? And we have to really understand this. We have complete no control about any of our affairs. Anybody disagree? Right. So let us go through, for example, different examples in the Quran, as we talked just now about Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, right? Naturally, fire is fire, isn't it true? Fire will burn 100%. 100%. Right? But with Allah, Allah can do anything. And that is why Allah, what did Allah do? Allah tell the fire to cool down, isn't it true? And the fire cooled down. Exactly. Sorry? No, Jibril initially asked Ibrahim alayhi salam, do you want me to help you? Then he said, no. I only trust Allah, right? Same thing as Jibril. Was it Jibril who asked Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, do you want me to defeat in Taif, right? You were thrown the stones. Do you want me to destroy them? Tell the mountains, angel of God, to destroy them. So no, right? So they only trust Allah, right?
What surah was that?
Which one?
The story of the fire.
I'm not sure. I'll find out for you, inshallah.
I know the ayah, I didn't know the surah.
Yunus alayhi salam, right? Yunus alayhi salam, what happened to him? But before that, why was he punished by Allah?
Who?
Yunus.
Doesn't
What?
Gathering.
Sorry? No. Yes, he left his people before he was given. Of course, giving dawah is difficult. Isn't it true? Now we know giving dawah is so difficult, right?
Yeah.
You want to follow us, you know.
Yeah.
So it's same thing as in those days. So he left the people earlier, right? And Allah did not command him to leave, right? See, this is why Allah controls His affairs very, very in detail, right? Even then, after that, what happened to him after that? He went into this boat, isn't it true? This ship. And what happened? There was a huge storm.
The whale.
No, before that, there was a huge storm, right?
Yeah.
And the people know that he's a important person, he's a prophet, right? And in those days, there's no human rights, right? You just need to chuck somebody out in order to save everybody, right? You don't care about what happened to them, right? So he actually had like have a draw lots, you know, there's the pen somehow or other they just spin the pen.
What's that called?
In the bottle.
Like spin the bottle, of course, but of course not in the gross that things that you guys are doing these days, right? To kiss your person, to kiss the person, to kiss the girl beside you, the what is it?
How do you know the
American Pie.
Sorry?
How do you know the game, Chef?
Huh?
How do you know the game?
There's a Netflix intro. But anyway, yeah. So can you imagine 3 times? It's Allah's will, isn't it true? Right? That the 3 times the arrow is pointed out to Yunus alayhi salam. And they say, well, got no choice. Whether you're a prophet or not, you have to go. Is it true? Right? And he was dumped outside. And then in the end, again, Allah's plan, what happened to him? He was swallowed by the whale. You and I, swallowed by the whale, we are finished, isn't it true? There's no way that we're going to be surviving. But again, it's Allah's will. Right? In the 3 levels of darkness, darkness of the sea, darkness of the belly of the whale, darkness of the night, 3 levels of darkness. Right? And in that moment, again, a dua that we all of us need to memorize is dua of desperation. Same thing as hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil is a dua of desperation, right? Which we need to know, right? So that we can make dua to Allah ourselves. He made a dua. La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minal zalimin. Which surah?
Surah Al-Anbiya.
Yes, good. Verse number?
49.
87.
87.
What's that? Is that Surah 7 or 5?
What?
Yeah.
21.
Oh, 21. So,
The story of Ibrahim Surah as well.
Sorry? Okay, alhamdulillah. Right? Now, so again, this is dua of desperation which we do need to memorize, isn't it true? Have you all of us memorized this? Right? This is part. The hadith was quite clear from Rasulullah. If you read the tafsir of this surah 21:87, a dua that begins with this, right? The dua will not be rejected. Yeah. So perhaps remember the etiquette of making dua. What is first etiquette? Right?
Praising.
Yeah, praising Allah first. Secondly, send blessings to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Thirdly, forgiveness, and you use this dua, inshallah, right? And then saying before that you use Allah's beautiful names, inshallah, right? Now, Yusuf alayhi salam, right? He was faced with many trials. Perhaps if not for the trials, he wouldn't be elevated to the high status, isn't it true? Again, it's Allah's intricate plan, right? Because were they very poor? The family, yes, they were very poor because in the end, because of the famine of this, they were begging the benefits, isn't it true?
Universal.
Do you agree? Universal credit. Going to the palace to ask for even rice. They got no money to get rice. Isn't it true? The whole family went, right? And this is how, despite brothers, and again, this is not about the story that we just read. We need to understand that despite numerous difficulties, did he still believe in Allah? Yes, and we must do the same. We be tested by Allah. Most of you are still very young, except Khalid and me. Isn't it true? How old are you, Khalid?
27.
No, you're not 27. It's impossible.
38.
Sorry?
38.
Yeah. Almost two years before you lose your youth.
I know.
Right.
2 years before I got.
So now in 2 years need to get things right. To be one of those who get the shit of Allah, inshallah.
What, 2 years of sinning then, yeah? And then...
No, 2 years of goodness, not sinning.
No,
Okay? Let's see a young person now, alhamdulillah. So this is it, how Yusuf alayhi salam, despite his difficulties, how many of us brothers, honestly, right, if you were to be put in the well, right, how many of us will actually, have you seen a well before?
yeah.
Exactly, it's very
Narrow.
narrow and high, isn't it? Most of us would die, isn't it true? Right, but again,
Why is there water in the bottom?
no, because
Empty.
don't tell me when you throw, you straight away go to the bottom, you hit, tuck, tuck, tuck.
Yeah, hitting on the side.
Of course.
And now sometimes there is, sometimes there's not.
Sorry?
Sometimes there is water, sometimes there may not.
Yes, of course.
You're just going down.
Yeah.
You're going to be
And we know from some scholars and narrations that actually Jibril was the one who saved him. Yes. Yes, Jibril saved him and all this, right? Because it's impossible because but of course with Allah anything can happen, right? And not only that, to be seduced by a woman, Khalil, is it easy?
To do what?
To be seduced by a woman and to withstand because the master's wife, according to many scholars, no, the master's wife, according to many scholars, she's very pretty, you know, she's very beautiful.
That's the shaitan right there.
And
women are the shaitan.
you're on record now. Your wife will see this. So anyway, brothers, right? It is with Allah's guidance that he was able to resist the temptations of the opposite sex. Isn't it true? That's why he, perhaps, of course, you know the Hadith that is one of the people who will be given the shade of Allah. Isn't it true? Right, one of the seven. Yeah. So this is how. Again, and because of that, he preferred to go to prison because the woman never give up. Isn't it true? Right?
They big manipulation.
It's from Elmi.
That's what I always think. If you're in a Muslim country, like you can't get the knowledge in that, but at least I feel that you won't be so tempted by things because obviously most women are covered as well. Not like this country where they're putting it on you.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Yes, you'd be surprised. Even in front of Mecca, people got seduced.
Wow.
Yes, of course, my students.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it can happen, and shaitan is everywhere, as you know, right? Right. But he has a thing called istiqamah. What is istiqamah? Istiqamah.
Being able to give like
Steadfast on the deen. Yeah. To be whatever happens, you are still on the deen. Even in prison, he was still doing da'wah with two people. Isn't it true, right?
Yeah.
We're still doing da'wah even in prison. Can you imagine? We are so demoralized in prison. Most of us will not be bothered, right? But he's still doing da'wah to these two prisoners, right? So and therefore, as a whole, his status was elevated. Isn't it true? What was he in the end? Sorry? Salam alaikum. He became the treasurer, minister of finance, something like that. Isn't it true? To be in charge of the wealth.
And the guards even love women in prison.
Musa?
Guards love women. Use it.
No.
and when they
He didn't become anything. We did not know.
And he freed everyone, isn't it? At the end.
But this is a story of what they call Yusuf alayhi salam.
Yeah, I think that's
Right.
Yeah, it's right, isn't it?
So brothers, right? So perhaps if he didn't go through all these tests and Allah's planning and all this, he would be the same as his father, isn't it true? Do you agree?
Yeah.
Poverty and poor, but perhaps Allah has Allah's plans to make him to be not just a prophet, but the minister of finance, to be able for people to give. Because when you are, like it or not, in general, when you are in a higher position, there's a better opportunity to do da'wah, isn't it true, inshallah? Right?
you can influence more people.
Yes.
Like, let's say just
Like Muhammad Ali,
Yeah.
right? In that high position, subhanAllah, we hear his stories. It's amazing how he always indirectly, it's all about Islam.
When you ask him, who's your bodyguard?
Yeah.
That's the last one.
Yeah, that's the next one. What happened? Because he was asked who is bodyguard. What did he say?
He's the one bodyguard, named Allah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He has no eyes, but he sees.
Yeah.
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 But he just had the truth and he didn't care.
Yes.
He was just.
But of course, Khalil, he also has the name and prestige, which makes it easy for him to do it.
I don't know if you've seen, Jordan Peterson.
No.
Yeah, man.
Even he done a talk with what's his name, Hamza Yusuf.
Yeah.
And he was very like
Hamza Yusuf.
Yeah. No, but anyway, that was the dawah is giving us.
Okay, let's end.
No, he's good though, man.
Yeah.
He's good. He talks knowledge.
Jordan Peterson. Yeah, he said.
Okay.
No,
Now let's talk about another example, brothers. Right? Prophet Musa alayhi salam. Why did he run away from his people?
Why did you run away? Why did you run away?
I said that.
you see.
Yunus.
Musa alayhi salam.
Oh, because he killed the man.
Yes. Right? He killed somebody, isn't it? And he was about to be persecuted by all these Pharaoh and all this.
One punch,
One punch wonder.
And then he went to, where did he go? Where did he go?
To
From Egypt to Madian.
to Maryam.
Not Maryam.
Madian.
Madian.
Which Madian?
Madian is somewhere in what? Syria, Palestine, all these kind of areas, right? Madian, Shams, yes. Right? And then, what happened to him? Before that, he made an important dua. What dua did he make? Musa alayhi salam. And because of this dua, right, he was given everything, right? He was given a wife, a house to live, right? Security for next 8 years. I'm asking you, that's what I'm asking you. Don't ask me questions I ask. What is this?
Give us a clue.
Rabbi inni lima anzalta.
Never heard of it.
Okay, no? Salah je, okay. Rabbi inni lima anzalta ilayya min khairin faqir.
Probably Surah.
No. We got another 113 surah to think about.
What did he ask for? Then?
So he ran away, right?
Yeah.
With nothing at all, nothing. So he trusts Allah, isn't it true? Allah is going to provide for him. Agreed? Because the topic today is about Allah knows everything and He's in control of all our affairs, right? And he trusted Allah, and he made this dua, Rabbi inni lima anzalta ilayya min khairin faqir, which means, my Lord, truly I am in need of whatever good that you bestow on me. Surah number 28. 28 is?
Oh, I didn't know the beginning part.
28 is
Specific.
Al-Qasas,
Yeah,
verse
yeah.
number 24.
Yeah, I didn't know the first couple of pages.
And this is dua, brothers, we should memorize intro, because if it happens to Musa, perhaps it can happen to us. That we trust only Allah. Rabbi inni lima anzalta ilayya min khairin faqir. Ya Allah, our Lord, my Lord, truly I'm in need of whatever good that you bestow on me. And he got everything, isn't it true? Got a wife, got a family,
Work,
right? Got work, right? Everything taken care of. And apart from that, after that, on the way back to Egypt, what happened to him? No. He became a prophet, isn't it true? Right? Because he saw a fire and all this, right? In the valley of, yes. Right? And this on the way back, they became a prophet. So everything because of perhaps this dua, inshallah, or perhaps it can happen to us because we trust Allah completely. Okay?
Was it when he came back from Egypt? Is that when he started like giving dawah and that?
Yes.
About the snake with the sticks?
Yes, because that was because he was what was the agreement with the father-in-law? He would remain there for about 8 years, perhaps 10 years if he's nice enough to stay, isn't it true? Right? And he fulfilled the terms, right? And then he was on the way back to home country, right? Because like it or not, even Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where was Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam born? In Mecca. Even he loved Medina, but he was sad to leave Mecca because he was born there. Because all of us would, me, Singapore, right? You guys are the countries and all this, right? Albania, right? You want to go back, isn't it true? Inshallah, right?
I thought, because you know Moses, the story when he was in the cradle down the stream and stuff.
Yes.
So was that? I thought he was already like someone very important, or was it just like a process? You know,
It's a process, yes.
He knew, obviously.
Yes, of course.
Obviously, but
Because
did
Allah-
anyone else know
No,
that he was going to be special.
nobody knows,
He
right?
didn't even know.
Yes, even the mother doesn't know, isn't it true? Right? But again, it's all in the Qur'an that we didn't. It's like jigsaw puzzles, isn't it true? Trying to follow
Because the way he
the
was
timeline
saved,
and all
the way he
this.
was saved, and all the other children were killed. The way he
Yes.
went to the palace, his mum came back for him.
Yes.
Like, did people start figuring out that?
Yeah. No, it's not. Right. It's only after when he comes back to because he missed his home, he brought his family all, and he saw a fire and all this. Right. That's what Allah appointed him, and Allah gave him the stick, isn't it true? Allah, and the stick turned to a
and it was white.
yes, turns white, and the stick turned into a serpent, and he ran away. I said, don't run away, you know. Allah warned him because nobody ran away from Allah, right? So he came back again, all this, right? It's quite amusing. Musa, alhamdulillah, is very. May Allah allow us to meet him, right, in Jannah, right? Because he's an amazing character. Because even him, he was so shy of his body, isn't it true? You know about the story?
No, he had a list or something.
No, that's he was so shy about his body. He always covered up. So there was a rumor because people a lot of evil eyes, isn't it true? People, there's a rumor. Oh, he got a skin disease.
Oh yeah, and the clothes.
Then he was taking a shower, right? Then he was putting his clothes on a stone. The stone ran away with his clothes. So he chased naked, stark naked to catch him, and then he quickly beat the stone up. And then after that, the people saw him, perfect body. So it was all a rumor, right? And those is authentic hadith, inshallah. About him. Yeah, yes. Okay. So this is important, right? The last one that I want to give, besides the prophets, ordinary people, non-prophets, can also benefit from this, right? People of the cave. What dua did they make?
To protect them and keep them safe.
More important than that. Rabbana atina min ladunka rahmatan wa hayyi lana min amrina rashada. Surah number 18, verse number 10, right? So, which means our Lord, bestow on us from yourself mercy and facilitate for us our affairs in the right way. It's very important dua, no? Right? Because they make this dua because they trust Allah, because they sacrifice themselves. Who among us would want to be separated from our parents? You want to leave your parents? No. You want to leave your wife behind? No. Your children? No, right? You're recorded. So brothers, in that sense, right? None of us wants to be separated from our parents because we love our families, isn't it true? But they sacrifice for the sake of Allah, right? And you're not talking about people about your age, they are even younger, they are teenagers, perhaps your age. Tell me, right? 16, 17, perhaps they are very young teenagers. We don't know how many of them are there. Are there 3, 5, or 7? Yeah, and they left everything behind for the sake of Allah, isn't it true? And they made this important dua. So this dua is very important because truly, when they ask Allah to facilitate us in our affairs, did Allah answer the dua? Right? How did Allah answer the dua?
He made them to sleep, put them to sleep.
For how long? 309 years. 309 years. Of course, the exact we don't know, but roughly 309 years in the Qur'an, right? And this is how Allah helps them. Not only that, even Allah puts this dog in charge of the cave of the mouth of the cave, isn't it true? Because when people see this big force, or they would think that nobody will dare to go inside the cave.
Where was the cave?
I do not know. I went to one in Jordan. I'm sure it's a fake one, right? Paid all this money, right? They got 7 graves and the grave of the dog, right?
No.
Yeah. The people take photos. I was like, oh yeah, sure.
Why? You turn them left to the right, isn't it? You kept turning them.
Yeah, not only that, because even Allah said nobody knows the numbers, isn't it true? And yeah, they have 7 graves, and the grave of the dog is there also, right? People take photos. So this is me and I think Hadith was there with me. Both of us were at the door. Like, okay.
Why did they cover the cave up and bury them all in there?
Yeah.
Supposedly.
They buried supposedly in the cave, of course.
Oh.
I even went to Egypt, right? And then I was at a place where the Pharaoh crossed at the stick. But at that point, there was a sauna. There's the cave, 2 caves. One is a sauna, one is a steam room, natural. No? So when the steam room, my sunglasses got that
Steam.
the steam up and all this, right? Allegedly, this is the place I paid money to go to this thing. So Allah Alam, right? People can just do these things, right? Okay, so all these lessons that Allah has, actually there's more lessons, much more lessons. I'm just summarizing these 5, right? For you and I to actually understand, right? To understand that everything is not in our hands, everything is in Allah's hands, and all of us must understand this, right? So, what lessons can we learn from today's talk? First of all, Allah controls every of our affairs. We are never in control of anything, right? Next one is trust in Allah. And when I say trust, brothers, it's not just about 10% trust, 90%,
luck.
Yes, precisely, right? So in the sense that, brothers, for example, right? I don't have enough money. I'm an Uber driver, right? For example, right? And the more I work, that means the more I can get money. right? At the expense of even missing my prayers. But that's quite common, isn't it? People are doing this, right? The more you work, and subhanAllah, you don't realize that Allah controls everything, right? Sorry to say this, some people are so upset they don't even want to seek knowledge, but they have no time to seek knowledge. And that's completely wrong, isn't it true? Right? Do you benefit from today's class, inshallah, Khalil, right? And it's very important to understand this, right?
I wrote that big email.
So, right?
It worked, yeah?
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Right? Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah khair. Right? Sorry? Sorry? Silent. Silent. Yeah. Okay, brothers. Okay, Surah. وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَتَوَكَّلُوا إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. And put your trust in Allah if you are believers indeed. Surah number 5, verse number 23, right? وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ وَكِيلًا. 33, verse number 3. And put your trust in Allah, and sufficient is Allah as a wakil. What is wakil?
All here.
Disposer of our affairs. Wakil. Right? So Allah said this to us, right? So put your trust in Allah. Is it easy?
No.
No. It's quite tricky, you know. Emil, you haven't started working yet, right? Once you start to work, you will know. Agreed, Khalil?
Yeah.
Right? Because you have this, right? Uncertainties, doubts, you have this, oh, should I open a restaurant? Oh, then alcohol is quite good money, isn't it true? Do you agree, right? In many people, isn't it true in your culture?
Yeah, that's always on to that.
What's that? Can you imagine that there was some restaurants, right? One restaurant, they don't have alcohol, right? But they say to the, like, non-Muslims, they be like, okay,
BYO.
no,
You bring your own.
Bring your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they give the glass, the wine glass, the like,
Yeah.
big-
Yeah. It's the same thing. Yeah,
It's
part
like
and
the juice,
parcel.
but they try to go
Yeah, of
around
course.
the-
Yes,
Friday
yes,
thing.
yes.
Yeah. They try to play around the rules.
Yeah.
What's the first thing? Only Allah knows what you're gonna make the next day. What is it? Something Allah knows basically your wealth for the next day. You don't know.
And you work for today or something.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there are similar verses equivalent to that. Yeah.
So for the next day, you don't know, but Allah knows.
Yes. So very important.
Basically, it doesn't matter. Like, worship Allah. Don't.
Do you
Yeah.
work you have this day? And then tomorrow-
Because brothers, even can you imagine, right? Let's say 2019, opening a restaurant, right? Oh, I think alcohol will make me money, right? Then subhanAllah, COVID happens.
Wow.
Do you imagine? Even for last time, right? Even when your property market goes down and all this, right? People are into properties, and there's a lot of people.
They're not paying
Property.
their rent. Allah,
Yeah.
they're not paying their rent.
Some people, the landlord, they were earning, let's say, for example, £1,000 per month. They
Yeah.
have to tell their tenants, pay me £300 a month. for example.
Yeah.
And some of them had their properties empty for like a year and a half
Yeah.
because they relied on the students.
Yeah.
Because their properties are linked to universities.
Yeah.
But the universities closed and they told the students work
Yeah.
study from
From
home.
home. Yeah.
So they kept it empty for a year, losing money every month.
So risk is from Allah, isn't it? And this is why, brothers, I keep on saying to many people, right? Don't just work, and then you don't come for lessons, you don't read the Qur'an, you miss your prayers, because it doesn't work like that. That means you don't trust Allah. You think you are the one who makes money. Isn't it true? Yes, you need to put in effort, but that's it, right? Let Allah handle the rest. Okay?
My wife always tells me, work. Yeah.
A woman is always like that.
Yeah.
They completely have lack of trust in Allah. Right? This is
Don't
it.
go to the gym, don't go to work, just come home, worship.
Yeah. So okay, you need to balance out, isn't it true? You need to tie the camels, isn't it true? Right?
But it's good reminders, if you know what I mean.
Now, number 3, right? Seek help in Allah at all times. And this must come first, and then put in efforts. So, what do I mean by this? If I'm sick, or whatever illness, I need to ask Allah to help me first. Isn't it true? Instead of, okay, I see the doctor first. No, of course not. Whatever the doctor do, they cannot do anything without Allah's will. Right? That's what Allah said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ista'inu bis-sabri was-salah, inna Allaha ma'as sabirin. Which surah? Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ista'inu bis-sabri was-salah. Oh, you truly believe? Seek help in what? Patience and in prayer. Inna Allaha ma'as sabirin, which means Allah is always with the patience. Right? Which surah is this? Verse number?
157.
No.
Almost there.
147.
153. Right? Oh, you truly believe? Seek help in patience first and in salah. And this is what we should do, right? Seek help in Allah first, right? And number 4, seek a means to get closer to Allah, which is our talk next week, inshallah. Because it's very important. We do need to know how to get closer to Allah. So don't take it for granted. Yes, just do the salah is enough, right? It's not about ticking boxes. There are many things that we should do to get closer to Allah, inshallah, right? Make plenty of dua, right? For example, what is dua leaving the house again? No, it's not what? Tawakkal to Allah. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Right? Bismillah, in the name of Allah. Tawakkal to Allah. Tawakkal means to put trust. Yeah. In Allah.
There's 2 angels that say that you will be protected or.
Yeah, the angels will be assigned to you, inshallah, when you say this dua. Okay. Do you recite Surah Ayatul Kursi before you leave the house?
No.
Before.
Are you supposed to? That's a true question.
Before you go to bed.
No, before you leave the house. No, you don't recite it. Because people are doing this, isn't it?
Yeah, I used to do that.
You know, because subhanallah, because this hadith, because
I didn't know it.
sorry?
I just included it as part of my adhkar.
Adhkar, yes, but
Yeah,
not
I
before
did
you
on
leave
the
the
way to
house.
school. I
Sorry?
did on the way to school like this.
Yeah, but it depends on me, of course.
Depends on intention of
Oh yeah, of course.
yeah. Because why? Because when you say this dua, you already angels are assigned to you. Isn't it true? You do not need anything else to be assigned because Allah is there to protect you, inshallah. Yes.
You're supposed to say, Salaam alaikum, billahi, billahi, salim, something when you enter the house.
Enter the house, yes. Got to do some narration. I don't recite that because I don't find this authentic.
So what are you supposed to say when you enter the house?
You say salam alaikum, yeah.
Because the angels are there. The angels are there.
Yeah.
Unless you have pictures.
Okay, what is dua leaving the mosque?
Oh.
Brothers,
Like a check.
Sabah, you go to the mosque all the time. What is dua leaving the mosque?
Leaving or
The
entering?
mosque doesn't leave.
Leaving.
Allahumma.
Bismillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Allahumma inni as'aluka min fadlik. What does it mean? Oh Allah, do me a favor. Right? Favor means anything, you know, protection and all this. Allahumma aqsimni min ash-shaytanir rajim. Ask Allah to protect us from shaitan, right? So we do need to understand this because again, all this helps us to ask Allah to protect us, inshallah, right? The dua, before we sleep, why do we recite the last 2 verses of Al-Baqarah?
To protect us from the Dajjal.
No.
Jinn. Sorry, that's the one of these.
Is it Lebanese?
No, it's the last 2 verses of Surah Al-Kahf. That's the one.
Yes. First 10 verses. It is.
Ah, yeah, everyone.
What is it, Hadith, Ayman?
For last
2 verses of Baqarah, yes. That's not the Hadith. What is the exact Hadith? It will be sufficient for us. Sufficient. You did not elaborate further. Sufficient means everything, inshallah. Protection. Some scholars say if you don't have time to recite the Quran, it's sufficient for us, right? It's sufficient for us, right? So you don't need to memorize at least. I can't imagine not memorizing because then I'm so sleepy right before you go to bed. Sorry, because I can't be bothered to read something, right? Because you just need to memorize because just recite. Yeah, precisely. Yeah. Okay.
First, even I say, ikhlas, das, and faith.
What?
3 quarters, he said 3 quarters.
Trickles, yes. You understand what you said?
Yeah.
What's that about 3 pools? Is that something authentic to say?
Yes.
Yes, of course. With the hands.
Pools.
Yeah.
You say 3 pools.
Oh.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. It's enough.
Yeah.
Trickles, yeah.
Yeah.
What's pools? Like, say it.
They all begin with
Yes.
3 times, you know.
Oh, it's like 3 quarters.
Yes.
Oh, is that what they called that? Hey, let's get used to it. I like that one.
You're a slow.
Okay. Now, the next one, right? The next one, brothers, right? Be steadfast on the deen and be patient. Why is it so important to be steadfast? Istiqamah. Because all of us are tested all the time, isn't it true?
Yeah.
Right? And this is, and because we think that we are the one who controls everything. No, Allah is the one. Perhaps Allah wants us, as somebody said, right, to be in a higher level, right, in Jannah. That's what Allah is testing us. Perhaps the thing that we want is not good for us. So just be steadfast on the deen, right? Allah knows best. We do not know anything at all for the future, right? Number 7, help others to achieve this. That means to remind each other, right? Ad-dinu nasiha. What does it mean?
Of showing, giving.
The deen is to
Giving
giving advice,
Right,
right? Giving advice and to enjoin good for being evil, and this is how we do, right? So this is how, when we have this group, inshallah, for sure, inshallah, when we face problems, we remind each other about the truth, isn't it true? About to be patient, about to, to be steadfast on the deen. We will, but if you mix with another group, then they will advise you other things, isn't it true? Shisha,
Is shisha haram?
right?
Yeah. Anything that hurts the heart.
No, it's not haram.
Anything that damages your body, isn't it?
Right? So have good companions. Number 9, brothers, you're finishing.
Basically, I'm still doing it, yeah?
Protect ourselves from shaitan. How do you do that? Because shaitan is always telling us, oh no, you need to sell alcohol to do this, right? You need to protect yourself from shaitan, of course. How do you protect yourself from shaitan?
You spit on your shoulder.
No, it's very specific. In general,
Oh yeah.
it's so specific, In general,
I would let you check other things.
imagine somebody wants to tell you, okay, I need to set up alcohol in your restaurant. So, what else? What can you do? Yeah, now the kursi, right? All this can protect yourself. Isn't it true? The calls in the morning and evening, isn't it true? Your adhkar, right? To protect yourself. So all this, brothers, all this is very important. Don't say, no, it's okay. It's a sunnah. Sunnah is very important to make sure to protect from shaitan, inshallah. Right? Always ask Allah for forgiveness of our shortcomings and for our impatience. And of course, last one, to recite Quran with understanding and with tadabbur. Tadabbur means?
Obedience.
No. Tadabbur. Yeah, have you heard of this?
Of course, yeah.
Right.
Siri, what's that?
Tadabbur means not just with the proper Arabic pronunciation, but with understanding, with pondering over the verses, and of course to implement. All this called tadabbur, right? Allah always mentions in the Quran about this word tadabbur because the Quran is meant for us to be like this, not just to recite blindly. Okay? Any questions?
I have a question that's a bit off topic.
Yes.
You see in a janaza, what happens if like the body's like burnt or something?
Yes.
What happens?
What happens what?
Normally you put the body in front of you, right? You pay the janaza prayer.
Yeah.
What happens if like
Well, like they was called
There's no body.
fire or something.
There's nobody here, that's it.
you just who do you put in the grave?
Honestly, I do not know.
Bro, be serious.
Why do you ask this question?
Huh?
Why do you ask this question?
No, I was talking about my God, the grave for just like so what happened to the faith? Like what bad?
Well, first of all, okay, so this is an important question, is it? I'm not judging, of course. So if a Muslim person is burnt, is it a good end? No.
Depends on like.
No. It's not a good
I
end.
think what's happening like in the camps there is.
It is still not a good end, whatever it is, right? And Allah knows best, isn't it? We've got a husnul khatimah. It's not a good end, right? I think at the end of the day, if you want to pray janazah, of course we do know where the body is, and Allah knows best. Sorry? Yes, of course.
So when you go to bury, you don't do the burial?
What is there to bury?
Was it? Yeah, precisely. Are the ashes?
So what do you do though?
And what do you do? That's all. What do you do if someone
That's
dies?
it.
You put the what, like an urn?
Put in your living room.
The pool bearer.
In a
To the chain.
When you say it's going to be.
No, okay, so most important thing, brother, that's why we ask Allah for. What is the dua of asking Allah for a good end?
Normally, as a local,
Ya Allah inni as'alukal husnul khatimah.
There's another one as well. If you don't follow my life, if it's bad for me, I take my life when it's.
It's a bit different.
I've heard that.
I know, but it's a bit different.
Okay.
This is a good end, whatever it is. Yeah. Yeah, difficult to answer a question because it's quite random questions, isn't it true?
Yeah.
Right. But Allah knows best, first of all, because I know, for example,
So if you die in a fire, Allah knows everything, controls everything. So that means it was his choice you died in the fire, no?
it is, but it's also on the basis of your
Action.
actions in this life. So I know a story of this homosexual couple, right? I was approached to help because when the person died, right? When the person died, I think either the person is Malaysian or Indonesian, I can't remember, right? The boyfriend wanted to bury. Wanted to. So the family, of course, wanted to have a Muslim burial. The family wanted a Muslim burial. The family of the boy, of course, is Muslim, right?
This is a major division.
I know, but they can't have. I mean, it's up to Allah to control. You know, we can't control the children because Allah do not guide them, right? So the family wants a Muslim, but the partner wanted to cremate.
Yes,
Right?
I agree.
So in that sense, right? Leading that kind of life and ending up in the end, because this country, as long as you are the partner, you have all right to the disposal of the body, right? So they end up being cremated.
Who is Muslim?
Yes,
Country.
in this country, right? Because the family is in Malaysia or in Indonesia and all this. So hold on. So my point is, when you end up in this way, can you blame? Do you blame yourself?
Yeah.
Or you blame others? Yourselves, isn't it true? Because and this is for me, again, I'm not judging, right? Of course, we always want Allah to have everybody's given mercy, right? In the sense that if you are disobedient to Allah, then Allah would never take care of you, isn't it true?
Because Allah might forgive
Again,
him. He had a Muslim burial. He might have forgiven him. We don't know.
Yes. Again, the topic today, Allah has a full power control of all of his affairs. He wants it to be in that way, and because of the consequence of your actions. Again, I'm not judging, of course. Right? So this is it, brothers. All actions have a consequence, isn't it true? Right? So that's why we are here together in the mosque to remind ourselves about important lessons that we face all the time. And good question, because at the end of the day, we do need to understand that if for me personally, right, if end up like that, it's not a good end. If I'm not buried, and may Allah grant us ability to get buried quickly, right, because of the autopsy, it's not a good end. I'm not judging, of course. Isn't it true?
I lost him because of the dreadful.
Because even the hadith, the scholar said that Allah wants, if a person wants to, Allah wants to meet the person quickly. He also wants to meet Allah quickly, and the burial is very fast. I even have somebody whom I was helping him to die. All right, in the sense that I was giving him all this da'wah and all this before he died. And he died, alhamdulillah. Died at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Friday. Buried Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Wow. Is it a good end, inshallah?
Yeah.
It is, inshallah.
Good finish.
All right, and because and so this is how it is that everything is controlled by Allah Himself, not by us. We can just try to obey as much as possible, but the eventual disposal of us is still Allah in the end, right? May Allah Subhanahu wa Taala continue to guide us to understand the Deen in the best of manners. May Allah Subhanahu wa Taala allow all of us to have a good end, husnul khatimah. May Allah Subhanahu wa Taala forgive us our shortcomings, and may Allah Subhanahu wa Taala grant Allah Jannatul Firdaus. Subhanaka wa bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursalin walhamdulillahi alamin. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Jazakumullah khair. Inshallah we'll see you next week, inshallah. Yeah. Niall, you're still there?